How to Get Jobs in High Ticket Sales slash Remote Closing Nick Pechar edition. Nick is someone who's became my friend over time. He initially applied to work in Closify and be listed as a sales rep probably about 2.5 years ago. And he was 17 at the time. He had a few $100,000 close already in the online space. And so after vetting him, we placed him in there. We've been very fortunate for him to be able to help a few of our clients and help us collect testimonials. So with the intro out of the way, it's going to be another intro right after this, but let's get straight into the interview. Welcome everyone. My name is Josh. This is Nick Pechar. Nick originally got in touch with me probably like 2.5 years ago, around the initial founding of Closify, which is my hiring platform for high ticket sales reps and remote closers. He originally at the time was actually 17, but he had a lot of experience selling info products and courses. And so with that being said, he was able to show us proof of him doing that. And so we got him inside, and to this date, not sure the total number of clientele he's worked with from Closify, fairly certain 2 testimonials of ours that we collected were directly as a result of him being in the platform and working with those business owners. Thank you so much for that, man. But yeah, so I'm just going to go through and ask him some questions so that you guys can get a better understanding of what it is that it exactly takes to be able to be successful in this business model, as well as be able to see other people's success, to be able to kind of draw parallels to as you go through and try to make this a successful business model for yourself. So right off the bat, Nick, I'd love if you could just go off, kind of give a brief synopsis of your prior sales experience, kind of the timeline for that.
Yeah, for sure. And everything was spot on there. I've actually worked with 3 or 4 total Closify clients, just 2 of them for like a pretty long structured time zone. So all in all, I started sales about 3 years ago, maybe 3.5 when I started looking into it. Prior to that, I was in e-commerce. So I was trying the drop shipping. We all know how that goes. Didn't work out. I would like profit a few $1,000, lose it all, go back, start again. Not fun. So then I actually heard about sales. Just my brother's a few years older than me, had followed people on Twitter. I don't know exactly who, but just had heard of the term like high ticket sales, selling for influencers, that kind of thing. So then I started doing some outreach, actually got started in the whole game and got hired like 3 months later with my first influencer. Was selling a $500 package, was basically like a course and some coaching mixed in together in the e-commerce niche. And so I was selling that, made like $3,000 my first month selling that, which at the time I was like 16 years old, felt huge, as Josh would say. But it really did. Like I had never seen money like that before, and seeing even just a few $1,000 come in 1 month as a result of closing these deals felt crazy. Started to scale, got with a better influencer. Actually was working with 2 people at one time. Rode that for a while and found some okay opportunities. And then I got inside Closify and started getting some pretty good opportunities through there. That was where things really started to like take off for me. Started getting real skill, building that real experience, because I had the prior experience, but had never sold like at a super high level. Started to see what it was like to work with teams where there was 4 or 5 other guys who are each bringing in $100,000, $200,000 a month on their own in revenue. The team's doing like $500,000, $600,000 a month in revenue. So that was pretty cool. And I'm surrounded by guys who are like 25, 30, like definitely older than me. And I'm still maybe 17 at this time. And then I just started working with more people. I've worked with a lot of different coaches, a lot of info products, coaching programs, some done for you, but mainly done with you programs that I've sold for. And all in all, it's been a great experience, has allowed me where now I'm 19 years old. I've done decently well for myself. I'm not going to college, which is something I always wanted to avoid, not going to college. So that was always a goal of mine. Definitely not going. And yeah, today I still sell for a coach who some people might know, but I sell a $10,000 offer now, and I'm making pretty good money with it. So definitely very happy with how everything has gone.
Got it. And so a few of my next questions were going to be initially kind of like what type of things you sold in the past and how long it took you to start really making good money. It sounds like it definitely fluctuated. You started making good money around when you were 16, and then you sold for a lot of different things and just any sort of coaching and online space. So was the majority of this like e-commerce, or was it just like, because I sold literally everything from like SMMA coaching and FBA to like women's high ticket like skill services, things like that. So did you have like a wide berth of like what exactly you were selling, or did you kind of focus more so in a certain set of niches?
Yeah, it's funny you said that. I almost got involved, and I think with a women's business coach. So I almost got involved
Okay.
with that. I never ended up doing it, but I've sold everything from like Shopify, Amazon, Instagram growth, other social media growth packages, and then like TikTok coaching, just short form coaching, and like a lot of other things in between, real
Mhm.
estate programs, Airbnb, things like that. Like basically any sort of coaching program, I've probably either sold for that type of program or something similar.
Mhm.
But earlier on, a lot of my experience was in the e-commerce niche, selling
Okay.
e-commerce programs. The reason for that was because I actually knew a decent bit about like drop shipping e-commerce,
Mhm.
just because I had studied and watched so many videos on it over the last couple of years when I was trying to do drop shipping. So I immediately went into that. That was kind of my first dive, and then just started expanding from there. At this point, I'll sell anything that is going to make me the most money, you know?
Correct. Yeah, that's what Alex always said, kind of as his rationale for getting into phone sales, is that he had already sold all these things before, or he's bought all these things before. So he's going to know what makes someone want to buy it, because that was him at one point. And so moving along from those things, the main thing that's honestly going to give a lot of people a lot of desire for getting into this and honestly answer a very, very important question that I keep getting, especially from the younger crowd. You started when you were not 18 years old. And a
Mm-hmm.
lot of individuals who I have talked to through my Instagram and Twitter DMs have been very on the fence about doing something like this or even online business in general, because they feel like they cannot receive a 1099. They feel like they will not get hired. And so I was wondering if, with the disclaimer that Nick Pechar is not a financial advisor, nothing that he says is supposed to be held to be true. And you should maybe also give that disclaimer as what it
Yep,
is.
yep, yep.
If you could walk through like what exactly the process of kind of doing that maybe slightly looked like with taxes, as well as just any payment processes that might have been different since you were younger, it would help out a lot of people who are watching this.
Yeah, for sure. So just to start, another disclaimer from me, not a tax expert. Go to your parents, go to a tax professional. That's what I do now. But when I started, I was 16. So I obviously wasn't 18 yet. I think a lot of people, because I even get this a lot of people DMing me, messaging me. They're
Mhm.
like, I'm only 16, I'm 17. How does this work legally? Like, can I do this? Like, are people going to turn me away because I'm so young? Sure, there's some people who will turn you away. But
Mhm.
like on that note, I had a lot of people when I was 16 who thought I was like 21 on the phone because they couldn't see me. They just heard me, and I don't even sound that old, but like people just can't hear. People don't
Mhm.
recognize that. It's whatever, right? Like it's
Mhm.
in your head completely. But now on the like taxes side, the way I did it, at least, you can get a 1099 when you're under 18.
Mhm.
You can make money when you're under 18. There's a certain limit where you don't have to report if you're a dependent, but you can look that up, that exact number. Um,
Mhm.
I've filed my taxes every single year that I've been selling. I really have.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been able to make it work. My parents helped me through it initially, and get on TurboTax. It's not that hard. I really don't think that should be something that holds you up at all. In terms of like payment processors, if you want to get paid through Stripe, obviously you have to be 18 um,
Mhm.
to have a Stripe account or whatnot. But I got paid through like different forms, whether that was a
Mhm.
PayPal or I've been paid through Zelle a lot, like
Mhm.
directly to your bank account, Wire. Like, don't worry about that if that's what's going to be holding you up. That's not even something I thought about until I actually started making money. Like, it wasn't ever something that was holding me up when I was 16 trying to start this.
Mhm. I love that, bro. And for those who don't know what a 1099 is, 1099 is the type of tax form that you would file if you were a contractor. If you're doing, for the most part, usually commission only sales and being an inbound closer, that is what you are going to be using. And going past that stuff, I've seen inside your community, like in your Discord and stuff. I've been looking around and I've been seeing you getting those 10K closes. I didn't know if there was different price points for you in your program. And so can you tell us kind of like anything about your gig, like right now, maybe like the niche or like kind of like what you're honestly more so with that question aside, like what your kind of day to day is for being a high ticket closer slash remote closer?
Yeah, for sure. So don't want to go specific on like who I'm closing for necessarily.
Good.
But I do sell a $10,000 program. It's
Mhm.
just 10 grand. There's no other options or anything. So
Mhm.
it's 10 grand. Of course, we can do payment plans, but my PIF rate is like 95% plus. So that's pretty awesome. But the program that I sell is in like the real estate investing niche. It's a coaching
Okay.
program in that niche.
Mhm.
My day to day right now, and honestly, I've been kind of dialed into this day to day ever since the beginning of the year. So
Mhm.
I've been liking it. 6 a.m., wake up by 6:30, go into the gym, get that in, probably back home by like 8 o'clock,
Mhm.
maybe 8:15, make breakfast, start going through like notifications for the first time because I'll leave my phone on do not disturb until then.
Mhm.
Go through notifications, usually prospects, text, whatever. Have to catch up on Slack notifications. Slack is what our team uses to communicate. Then from there, 10 o'clock, I have my first call. My calendar's open from 10 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So if I have back to back to back calls every hour, that's like 6 calls, I believe, throughout the day.
Mhm.
Typically, I'll end up actually taking 4 to 5 that will actually show up and I'll be on calls, close deals. After that, fill out my end of day, send that in. After that, usually like go for a drive or hot tub or just try to relax for a second. And
Mhm.
then, yeah, do whatever I want for the rest of the day. Go
Got it.
go get food, whatever
Yeah,
it
like
is. It's
Skyline
kind of
chilling.
been that's been my life in high ticket sales for sure. So look, I'm working hard. This isn't
Mhm.
something where you're going to be able to put in 30 minutes, an hour a day and be able to succeed with it. But you have a location freedom. You can go wherever
Mhm.
you want. You're going to make a lot more money than like any other job you're going to be able to immediately go get.
Mhm.
So all in all, 100% worth it. And you learn everything about business, which is honestly the biggest thing. You learn how these businesses work, and these businesses are generating 600, 700, $800,000 a month, right?
Mhm.
So
So aside from the last question, which is going to be where can they find you, is going to be any advice for people looking to get started and looking to get into high ticket closing slash remote sales?
yeah, for sure. I have a pretty strong opinion on this, and you have to be willing to work hard. You have to be
Hmm.
someone who's going to make it happen. And I almost feel like there's certain people who just will, certain people
Hmm.
who won't. Definitely when I started to now, there's a lot more competition for beginners. There's a lot more people reaching out trying to get these sales gigs. So what you need to do, like if I was starting over from the beginning, I would save up a few grand, save up 3, 4, 5 grand, whatever it is. Find someone who you trust, find someone who you know is reputable, talk with
Hmm.
tons of other people, take your time, spend a week or two, look into these people and get a mentor or a partner or someone who has been there, done that, can guide you 1000%. Because one of the biggest things I've learned, especially with like Closify, for example, being
Hmm.
connected is quite literally everything in this space. You'd be the best closer in the world. If you can't find a job, if you're not connected to business owners, you're not going to make any money.
Hmm.
And then the second thing would just be go heavy on outreach. Don't give up. I see people all the time, like even in my community, who reach out to people for a week and they're like, I've reached out to 50 people. I haven't got a job. Like, why is this not working? It's like you've reached out to 50 people. Like you have to
Hmm.
be the person who's willing to reach out to 50 people a day for a month, 2 months, and then maybe 2 months and one day in, you finally get a job and it was all worth it. So that
Hmm.
would be my advice.
Got it. It's fantastic and very well said. Now, fun part, love if you could tell them where exactly they can find you. And then also, if you'd like to tell them, I have a link to it inside of my free guide. If you'd love to go ahead and talk about your community, love to share it with my audience.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a community. I teach sales inside of there. We have a course. We have weekly calls with me, and of course, the community for support, 24/7 access to reach out to me and ask questions as well. There's a free chat you join. Name is Rocket Sales, discord.gg/Rocket Sales. And then you can always upgrade. Upgrades $35 a month, month by month. Up to you. My socials are at NICKPECHAR on everything except Instagram. Instagram is at PECHAHH. Had some troubles with usernames on that, so we had to roll with it. But I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, soon to be YouTube as soon as Josh gets me into it. And
yeah, you have to. I'm holding you. Like, I'm coming back to Ohio on the 6th through the 9th for Easter, so I'm going to find you. And for those who don't know, like, we come from kind of like similar to the same hometown. You're from Columbus too, right?
Yeah, like 35 minutes away from each other, probably 35, 40.
Which is awesome. With that being said, everything that he just said out, you don't have to type it in. If you did already, that sucks for you. I'm putting all of it down in the description below. And so you'll be able to go out and reach out to him and ask him any other questions that you have. Once again, if you guys have any questions for me or then also him, feel more than welcome to reach out to us on any of the platforms. We'll do our best to be able to get back to all of you. Make sure to also check out the links for that free guide that I mentioned earlier. At this point, I created it, I want to say like a month ago. I've been fortunate enough to already have gotten 2 testimonials from people landing gigs and finding success solely from that guide, which is fantastic. But like he said, and like I talked about in my prior video, having a community and having a mentorship is huge, and much so decreases the amount of time and effort you have to put in to be successful. So thank you for joining me on the call today, Nick. Thank you for doing this interview. And I hope everyone watching as well as yourself has a great rest of your day.
Thanks for having me on.